Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The next day at the company, Yun has lunch with Shuya and suggests that they develop a game for couples to play together, helping them grow closer. Shuya loves the idea and gets excited about it. He gathers the employees and shares Yun's idea with them, and they all love it and get motivated. Shuya explains the idea to the programmers so they can start working on it. Z, still holding on to her feelings for Shuya, visits Shuya's grandmother and apologizes for leaving Shuya in the past. She explains that she left for America to get treatment because she was sick and asks Shuya's grandmother to help her get back together with him. Shuya's grandmother agrees to try. Later, Z takes Yun shopping and subtly annoys her with comments which irritates Yun, and she walks away. Shuya later visits his grandmother for lunch after she invites him, and he's surprised to find Z there. They sit down to eat, and his grandmother suggests that he gives Z another chance since they are a good match. Shuya refuses and leaves. A few days later at the company, the employees test a beta version of the couples game that Yun suggested. It turns out to be great, and Shuya and Yun have a lot of fun playing it together. Z then posts an album of photos of her with Shuya at his grandmother's house and spreads a rumor that they are dating. Yun sees the photos and gets jealous and upset. She quits her job and leaves. When Shuya finds out, he goes to her house to explain that there is nothing between him and Z, but her father answers the door and angrily tells Shuya that his daughter Yun is very upset and that it's surely his fault. He asks her to meet, and she agrees. He goes out for a bit and then enters her room. He explains to her why he was with Z, and that when his grandmother asked him to return to Z, he refused because he loves her. She understands and lets it go. The next day, she goes to the supermarket and sees Yao. She approaches her, and Yao tells her that she and Joe are now a couple and invites everyone to have lunch at their place the next day. She also invites Shuya and Yun to join them. She agrees, and the next day Shuya and Yun go over and they have a great time with their friends. They see Joe and Yao joking around and realize that they are a good match, and everyone is happy for their relationship. At the company, Yun later tells Shuya that the game lineup they are planning to release is not enough and only targets specific segments. She suggests that the foreign partner might not agree to the partnership or investment in the company. Z then asks Shuya to get back together with her, promising to change the evaluation in his favor and convince the partner. Shuya refuses, of course. Z then meets Yun and tells her to stay away from Shuya because she is not right for him and will harm him. Yun leaves upset, and Z tries to convince the investor not to invest. However, the investor tells her that Shuya had sent him an evaluation and study of the upcoming projects, which all seem very promising, and that it would be a guaranteed profit, so he can't refuse to invest. Z is left frustrated and unsure of what to do. Shuya attends a party with his grandmother. Z calls him multiple times, but when he doesn't answer, she shows up at the party. Shuya apologizes to her, explaining that his phone was in the car. Moments later, his grandmother suddenly feels unwell and collapses. He rushes her to the hospital and stays with her until the next day. Meanwhile, with his grandmother in the hospital, problems arise at the company, and Shuya sits down with his sister Shin to try and solve them. He becomes very busy and neglects Yun. Joe asks Yao to marry him, but she refuses, saying she needs some time. One night, Shuya goes to the company to surprise Yun, only to find her unconscious in the elevator. He is extremely worried and rushes her to the hospital. The doctor tells him that she has anemia due to malnutrition but will recover soon. A week later, Shuya signs the partnership contract with the investor who had been funding him recently. At the signing party, Shuya approaches Yun to stand with her and make sure she's okay, but Z interrupts them, telling him the investor wants to see him. She takes him away, which makes Yun very jealous and upset. She stands with her friend and drinks a lot. Z tells her, "You're just an owl." Shuya loves only me. Yun responds, "You're just a pet to Shuya." Nothing more. Yun says, "It doesn't matter. I'm still better than you because I'm not with him for my benefit, but because I love him." She tears up. And just before she faints, Shuya catches her. He tells Z to stay away from his fiancée and carries Yun away, leaving everyone shocked by what he said. The next day, Shuya goes to pick Yun up and is lost in thought about what happened the night before when Yun confessed her love for him. When Yun's parents come in, he tells them that Yun left early. He leaves and goes to the company where he can't focus on the meeting because he's thinking about Yun. He sends her a message inviting her to lunch, and she is happy but doesn't reply. During lunch, Yun eats with her two colleagues, Yiji and Amy, who tell her about what happened the night before, making her feel very embarrassed. She tells them, "Shuya invited me to lunch today, but I didn't respond because I promised you we'd eat together." She orders Shuya's favorite food and tells them to give it to him before leaving. The two colleagues then go to Shuya, expecting him to be angry after Yun refused to have lunch with him because of them. They bring the food back to the company and give it to Shuya, telling him it's from Yun. As they are about to leave, Shuya stops them, asking them how he can get Yun to agree to marry him. They tell him to propose to her directly, so he decides to go for it. That night, Shuya arranges a surprise for Yun and asks her to meet him at a restaurant without telling her he's going to propose. She is amazed when she sees him. He gets down on one knee and proposes, making her happy, but she still refuses. The next day, the employees are surprised to hear that Yun refused Shuya's proposal. Joe talks to Shuya, telling him, "You should have hinted at marriage before proposing." Shuya responds, "Do you think I didn't? I tried many times, but she always acted like she didn't understand and changed the subject." Joe asks him, "Did you propose to Yao?" Shuya says, "Yes, but she also refused, saying we should take our time first." He pulls out the ring he bought for Yao, explaining that he couldn't give it to her because she seemed against the idea of marriage right now. Shin arrives and stands with them. As Joe is standing with Yao, a ladder falls, and Joe pushes her out of the way, injuring himself in the process. She worries about him, and they take him to the hospital. After he's treated, Yao approaches Joe and shows him that she's wearing the ring, making him very happy knowing she's agreed to marry him. Shuya's game No Limits for Married Couples is released and people love it, making it a big success. Shuya holds a meeting, announcing that the company is back to its original state and even better, thanks to the game's success and profits. That night, he walks with Yun and asks her to marry him again, and this time she agrees. They get married on the same day as Joe and Yao. He gives her the wedding ring, and they celebrate. She takes him to stand by the swimming pool as the celebration continues, and they share a romantic moment together. At the beginning of their marriage, Yun suddenly says, "Divorce me. Divorce me. Why won't you open the guest room? Are you cheating on me? Divorce me." Shuya calms her down and takes her to the guest room where she's surprised to find that it's prepared for the children they plan to have. She asks him why he didn't tell her sooner, and he replies, "Because I love you so much. I'd die for you." He jokes with her, lifts her up, and the series ends. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our recap, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out more recaps on our channel. Take care.